Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Tuesday, September 2, 2025. And in the news this evening, MoBay ophthalmologist dies in Florida days after her husband. Respected Montego Bay ophthalmologist Dr. Winsome Hastings died in a Florida hospital on August 25 following a minor procedure just 2 days after her husband, Donovan Clark, passed away at another facility. Friends in Jamaica described their deaths as surreal. The Western Jamaica medical fraternity has been plunged into mourning as the news broke, with tributes pouring in for Dr. Hastings, who was widely regarded as one of the region's leading eye specialists. Born on October 30, 1943 in Montego Bay, Hastings was the eldest child of Wiley Hastings of Great Valley, Hanover. A past student of Montego Bay High School, she studied medicine at the University of the West Indies, graduating in 1973. She began her career at the Cornwall Regional Hospital before specializing in ophthalmology in St. Louis, Missouri. On her return to Jamaica, she worked as a consultant in Cornwall Regional Hospital's eye department, and because of the shortage of specialists, practiced in Mandeville and Savannah Lamar on weekends. After leaving government service, Hastings established a private practice on Orange Street, Montego Bay, and for several years operated a clinic in Florida before returning home permanently after Hurricane Andrew. It was at UWI that Hastings met Clark, who later became her husband of more than 40 years. The couple, who shared one son, Alexei, divided their time between Jamaica and the United States in recent years, particularly due to Clark's illness. Clark, who became a licensed real estate agent during their years in Florida, died on Saturday, August 23. Hastings, who was hospitalized at the time, succumbed 2 days later. Lifelong friend and classmate Ken McCarthy said the couple's passing has left him devastated. Winsome was one of the most kind, loyal friends one could ever wish for. Always full of life and seemed invincible, he said. She was a caring, compassionate, and devoted physician. He remembered her humor in debates with her husband. At times, I had to play referee. Winsome would then turn to Donovan and say, "You're not getting Ken a drink. What I really needed was something stronger for sore ribs from laughing." McCarthy also described Clark as a calm, cool, and a very personable chap, almost unflappable, even when his wife blamed him for anything that went amiss. He had an unparalleled sense of humor. Classmate Dr. Marjorie Kerr recalled their days at a medical school in the late 1960s. "We were both in residence at the Mary C. Cole Hall and often studied late into the night. Winsome was always dedicated," she said. To lose her and Donovan as well is heartbreaking. Dr. Winsome Hastings is remembered as a pioneer in ophthalmology in Western Jamaica, whose career spanned decades of service at the Cornwall Regional Hospital, private practice, and mentoring younger doctors. Her sudden passing, alongside her husband, has been described as a double tragedy that has left Montego Bay in mourning. Criminal charged with murder. A 33-year-old tattoo artist has been charged following the shooting death of a fruit vendor on Sunday, June 29, at the intersection of Majestic Garden and the New Road, Kingston 11. Nicoy Morgan, otherwise called a criminal, Hot Rice and a Tattoo, is charged with murder, possession of a prohibited weapon, possession of prohibited ammunition, using a firearm to commit a felony, and wounding with intent. Dead is 58-year-old vendor Michael Sinclair, otherwise called the Fruits Man, of Majestic Garden, Kingston 11. Reports from the Hunts Bay police are that about 7:25 p.m., Morgan, allegedly armed with a handgun, drove up, alighted from a motor vehicle, and opened fire at Sinclair and another man. After the shooting subsided, it was discovered that both men received gunshot wounds. They were transported to hospital, where Sinclair was pronounced dead. Following an investigation, Morgan was taken into custody during an operation. He was charged on Monday, September 1, after a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. EOJ says all systems ready for September 3 elections. The Electoral Office of Jamaica has confirmed that all preparations are complete for the general election and the local government by-elections set for Wednesday, September 3. A total of 7,294 polling stations at 2,153 locations across the island will be open from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., after which the preliminary ballot count will take place inside the polling stations. Director of Elections Glasspool Brown said the EOJ has finalized the key arrangements, including the printing of ballots and the voters list, and the distribution of ballot boxes and the supplies. Returning officers commenced their meetings with the teams on Sunday, with the final set of briefings scheduled for today, said Brown. In total, 190 candidates will be on the ballot, 184 contesting the general election, and the 6 vying in the by-elections. 4 political parties are participating: the Jamaica Labour Party, People's National Party, Jamaica Progressive Party, and the United Independence Congress. Election Day will be monitored by local observer group Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections and the international observer missions from the Organization of American States, the Caribbean Community, and the delegations from the British High Commission, the United States Embassy, and the European Union. The process will also be overseen by the Election Center, which manages incident reports, resolutions, and updates to the media, as well as the constituted authority, which has the power to halt or void elections if necessary. Electors who are unsure of their polling station are encouraged to visit the Electoral Commission of Jamaica's website at www.ecj.com.gm, use the Check My Status feature, contact their constituency office, or call the EOJ's toll-free helpline at 888-991-VOTE or 888-991-8683 or 876-922-0425-9. 19-year-old Hagman remanded over fatal shooting at a Vigil in Gregory Park in Portmore. 19-year-old Adriano Anderson, otherwise called Hagman, who is charged for the alleged shooting death of a man at a Vigil in Gregory Park, Portmore, St. Catherine, has been remanded. Anderson is charged with murder, using a weapon to commit a scheduled offense, possession of a prohibited weapon, and unauthorized possession of ammunition. The case against him was today transferred from the St. Catherine Parish Court to the Gun Court, where it will be mentioned on October 6. Anderson is charged for the killing of 31-year-old Uriah Palmer, otherwise called the Children, a laborer of Caymanas Gardens in Gregory Park. Allegations are that about 1 a.m. on August 14, Palmer was at a vigil in the area when he and Anderson, a mechanic of a Gregory Park address, had a brief conversation. During the conversation, Anderson allegedly brandished a handgun, which he used to shoot Palmer in the upper body before escaping on foot. Palmer was assisted to hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Anderson turned himself into the police the following day. He was officially charged on Monday, August 18, after being interviewed in the presence of his attorney. He is being represented by attorneys at law Rodane Richardson and Dane Marston. United Oil and Gas secures a beach license for Jamaica exploration. United Oil and Gas has announced that it has been granted a beach license for the Walter Morant Basin offshore Jamaica, paving the way for seabed sampling operations in the area. The license, which renews annually on April 1, authorizes the company to conduct piston core surveys in foreshore and the seabed areas and to collect the seabed samples for geochemical analysis. United says this will provide critical data to assess the hydrocarbon potential of the basin, helping to de-risk the license by strengthening its technical data set and identifying possible indicators of hydrocarbons. This milestone follows the recent extension of the Walton Morant license to January 2028 and the granting of an environmental permit in July 2025, marking steady progress in the company's permitting process for its Jamaican exploration program. United's Chief Executive Officer Brian Larkin says that the license is an important step in unlocking the potential of the basin. He noted that the seabed sampling will enhance the company's technical evaluation, improve the prospectivity of the license, and add to its attractiveness for potential farming partners. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.